All right. Yeah.
Don't cough a screen.
She gave it a look like, yeah, everything was like a look that was like, everything's good. It's working. Not like, hey, dude, you're on. Wake up, man. It's like, no. Oh my goodness, it's actually working.
Yeah. It's so rare.
Let's hopefully it'll stay working.
Yes.
What's up, sick sinners? Y'all got the sniffles?
Aww.
You got the corona sniffles? Hopefully my feed don't get no freaking coronavirus. You know, my feed be sick all the time. Oh my goodness. Got them gremlins, man. They be coming here coughing and sneezing all everything. I'm sorry, your connection doesn't work that good, bro.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my technology be running a fever and stuff like that. It starts getting all hot. Can't take the heat. That's that gospel, man. Ain't nobody else have these problems. No, I don't see anybody have these problems with stuff like that, where the connection and stuff like that and get heat. You'd be like 75 degrees in here, still hot as my computer. Oh my God, it's so hot. I have a fever. Stick a thermometer in my butthole. I can't.
And that's why it's anti-Fuddy Duddy.
All right. So, all right. Well, I guess the only thing that's going on out there is flipping coronavirus. I guess that's.
Yeah.
Am I streaming on Facebook?
Yeah.
Am I going? Oh, okay. Well, cool. Right on. So like, I looked at both my channels. I'm like, both my channels seem to be like, oh, you know what? How interesting. For some reason, my Facebook feed looks like my YouTube feed. Okay.
That's weird.
All right.
Yeah, I don't get your notifications anymore because they're always turned off, but I actually found you in the feed, which I never have.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And you know, and as what is it? Rahm Emanuel? What does he say? Don't let a good crisis go to waste or whichever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fine. We're gonna take good advantage of y'all being at home.
Hey, Jason.
And we will be prayed up, and we will try to make sure that we do what we can and not let this this bug get all up into our sinuses in our chest and whatnot. And the thing is, and and bless you guys. Thank you guys for coming in, hanging out here at the ZOpium Den. Tonight, it's not just the anti-Fuddy Duddy Bible study, it's the anti-cootie Bible study. No cooties up in here. White white spray.
Yeah.
And all that good stuff before you come. No, it's now, of course, I'm not trying to be like overly nonchalant about the crime. There's got to be something to it, because like Italy is taking a hit, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got to be something to it. Like Italy is just, what's it, man? You guys, maybe you need a little bit more alcohol in your wine or something like that, man. It's God bless you guys. It's man, my prayers for shalom and restoration in Italy. Hopefully, is it kind of like, is it leveling off? I haven't really heard, but I heard Italy is just.
I don't think it's leveling off yet.
Jeez, man. So, yeah, y'all need drink more wine. Drink more wine, and
for the resveratrol or whatever that stuff is called.
For the alcohol. No, resveratrol. So the alcohol. Sterilize that palate. Right? That's what y'all need to be, drinking on that wine. Get that Chianti going. Chianti for the anti-cough. Chianti cough suppressants. What you need? Be coughing on people and stuff like that. Come on, man. Italy, get it together, man. Because I love Italian food. Aww. That's my favorite. Right? I don't want to hear about no shortage of Italian food.
God forbid it.
I don't want to hear nothing about that. Even though, the Italian, that's my weakness, man. It's be going right to my belly. Can't do it, man. They need more of a gluten-free selection with the Italian food.
Right? Pasta belly.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's what we want to make sure. It's like, I posted earlier that the coronavirus, man, is nothing like the virus of fear.
Oh, true.
Viral fear that's going out there. But like I said, it's you hear reports of people saying that, yeah, man, I got it and it wasn't any worse than the common cold.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
So there's kind of mixed messages as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people are going crazy. Ain't no like widespread looting and all that sort of stuff. But things being shut down and whatnot. But a lot of this is a response to propaganda. As just like I was clowning about earlier, Rahm Emanuel talked about not letting a good crisis go to waste. I think the liberal media, between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and stuff like that, people running and this election year coming up, I think they are capitalizing on this
Oh boy.
to totally railroad, the Trump administration.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And of course the Trump administration is put into a position where they got to respond to it. And they know it's like, look, this is Democrats are more afraid of Trump being in office than they are of the coronavirus.
Amen to that.
That's what it comes down to. They're afraid of losing funding for Planned Parenthood more than they're worried about the coronavirus. They ain't worried about the coronavirus. What they're afraid of is Trump. That's all it comes down to. So they are promoting the snot out of this. And that's all it is. And once again, y'all, this isn't me trying to, be nonchalant about the coronavirus and stuff like that. You want to do what you can to take precautions and whatnot. But, we got to, you stay rooted in the Lord. Keep calm. I don't think I need to tell anybody that.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to, once again, ain't trying to be like the adult in the room telling people what they need to do and stuff like that. The thing about it is it's difficult because of there's habit and there's human nature, stuff like that. What is it? Talk about, was it Florida? They want that spring break, man.
Yeah.
It's like, look, man, what do you guys, so hung up on spring break for? Like, you guys gonna get out there on spring break and do stuff that you hadn't been doing all the time you've been in college anyway.
That's true, right?
Smoking weed, getting drunk, getting laid, and all that sort of stuff.
That goes for the high schoolers too.
It's like, what are you guys gonna do that's so much different? The only thing that you guys are gonna do different is that you're gonna do it with people from other colleges.
Yeah.
You're doing it on your own campus. You're
going to do it during the day when you would normally be in class. Right.
So what are you guys going to do that's so much different during spring? What you think you're going to miss out on? It's like, dang, man. It's like you guys are, and the sad part of it is that these people, and it's always been, they want their college for free.
No, yeah.
And you would think, and maybe that's one of the reasons why people want people to have free college. Like, look, man, because I'm tired of spending my money, on these people taking these loans and taking these grants and just going to school and get drunk. They ain't no escaping that. They're going to get that money one way or another, whether you think it's free education or not. Some people ain't thinking this stuff through.
Yeah.
So they're going to get this money. They're going to be getting that legal weed.
Mm-hmm.
They was getting it anyway.
Yeah.
They're going to get their smoke on. They're going to get their drink on. They're going to get their hump on, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, Lord. And
that's just what they do. So with this spring break, what's different?
Yeah.
There's ain't nothing different. So, but that's just the selfishness, y'all. There's that pride. There's that pride. There's that selfishness. People are looking, they want to have a good time and all that sort of stuff. And when it comes to people wanting to indulge, that's the motivator right there.
Yeah.
That's the thing that will jump in front of the risk and be like, look, man, I want to get out there and I want to party and I want to have me a good time. And, that's why people, will go and drink and then go and drive.
Yeah.
I just want to have a good time. They'll get out on the road and they'll go driving like idiots and stuff like that because, I'm having fun. I'm having fun showing off. That's just the nature of people.
Yeah.
And it unfortunately it puts other people in a position where it's like you can be careful. As we say to our loved ones as they're going out the door, be careful. It's not you that I'm worried about, it's the other person.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that you'll keep it safe and all that sort of stuff, but there's gonna be people out there who they don't care about other people's safety.
Yeah,
they don't care.
We're always gonna have them.
Yeah, they're always gonna be here. That's why the Lord says the poor will always be with it. Not just the poor financially, poor in judgment.
Yeah.
Poor mentality, poor emotions, poor spiritually. Mm-hmm. That's what he's talking about. You got to look at the full scope of this deficit that people have.
Yeah.
Right? You just don't care. And so you'll have people out there that'll be getting out and compromising things. That's just the nature of people. And we've always dealt with that. This ain't nothing new. And we've always dealt with stuff like this. And by the way, y'all, speaking of which, of people who don't care if they can get out there and pass it around and all that sort of stuff. If I'm understanding correctly, your pets, be careful with your pets.
Oh, yeah.
Purell your pet. You need to make a Purell for pets, man.
Purell your hands before you
That's right.
pet your pet.
So your pooch don't get the corona AIDS.
Yeah,
right?
They can get it from us.
Yeah, I guess it's transferable between species. Well, I mean,
it's crazy. I mean, I guess it came from
it came
weird animals that the Chinese were eating.
Right. I mean, not all, viruses are not all viruses. Like say, for instance, you got feline AIDS.
Yeah, true.
But it's not like a person can get feline AIDS.
No.
Person can get AIDS, but not their virus of AIDS.
Right.
And but as it stands, I guess this coronavirus has come from the how shall we say, the exotic the exotic eating, the exotic diet
Yes.
of the Chinese, if you will. I kind of wanted to save this for the ZOLOP, so I can have something to talk about, because then there's nothing else to talk about, in the news cycle, unless I do some evergreen stuff, which I need to do anyway. We need to touch on the fundamentals, conservatism, Christian-based, conservatism and stuff like that. But as it is, with China, what is it? Did I hear correctly? China trying to blame that on us?
Yeah.
It's racist for us to say that, this virus is rooted in China. But China can blame this as a military action against them.
Yes.
Like, come on, are you serious?
Like, we gave them.
If anything, if it's a military campaign. I noticed that this virus kicked off right around the time that they have them protests in Hong Kong. Shut them up really quick, didn't it? I mean, if we're gonna go down that road. But I think the issue is, hey man, can we get a lid on this? On a side note, dare I go here? And once again, I was going to say this for Zola, man, but I just want to test them. Maybe I want to test the waters a little bit.
Oh
no. As it is, China is not exactly friendly to Christians.
That's correct.
And in the war of Armageddon, I think China is looked at as supposed to be one of the armies.
Yeah.
That's going to be rising up
from the east.
Yeah, from the east. Now, that's prayerfully research that and stuff like that. I'm just speculating, but China is a culture, y'all, that is deeply rooted in sorcery, witchcraft.
Huh?
When you consider their diet, and it's not the only culture. There's different cultures like that, but China's a big flipping nation. So when you consider their diet, y'all, everything that they consume is unclean.
Yeah.
Right? Their diet is a very unclean diet. I mean, when you're eating bats, that's like a witch standing over their cauldron saying, "Wing of bat, eye of newt," stuff like that, and putting all this funky stuff to stir into the pot.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know people will jump in there and say, "Yeah, but Zoe, wasn't there the vision of Peter when the sheet came down and it had all the unclean animals on it?" Yeah, exactly. But what did the Lord say? The Lord said, "Kill and eat." Okay, kill and eat. You gotta bleed the animal out. All right, make sure it's dead. Do not eat the animal while it still has life in it. All right, so that's a big difference. That ordinance of consumption still stands. You do not eat a creature while it's alive.
Yeah.
You have to bleed it out. You have to slaughter it. All right, bleed it out. But in the Chinese, when a person is eating them, like say for instance, even with the Japanese, when they eat that fish raw, I'm talking about like the fish is still wiggling.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll squeeze that caviar. They'll be out there, squeeze that caviar in their mouth, eating that animal live. That's animal behavior, y'all. That's animalistic. But when you see cultures like this that will slaughter, that will kill an animal and eat, just eat it while it's still got its blood in it. Right? Why do they do it? The rationale for it is because they want to consume the animal's spirit. They want to consume the animal's power.
Oh.
Right? What is that, y'all? That is witchcraft.
Wow.
So when you have cultures that are into eating an animal, any unclean animal, and eating it basically while it's still wiggling, you didn't bleed the life out of it. You got to bleed it out. But when you don't do that, you just eat the animal from the rooter to the tutor without bleeding it out. And your reasoning for doing that is because you want the energy, the chi, the prana of the animal, right? No, actually, I should. But what the Chinese would call from the Indian problem. Indians are mostly vegetarian, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But that's what they're taking. They're taking that from the Indian culture, bringing it into their culture, which they call chi, and you're gonna consume the animal and consume its life force, right? Y'all, that's witchcraft.
Yikes.
Okay, so and this is one of the reasons why God is so admonishing of not bleeding an animal. You got to slaughter an animal. Don't choke it.
Yeah.
You don't choke the animal. You got to slaughter it, bleed it out. All right. So anyway, these are the things that we're up against, y'all.
Yeah.
We're up against stuff like this, and China's a big nation. And once again, y'all, this isn't speaking to the DNA of the people. Chinese people are, we're all people. People are people. We're all people. But there's cultural elements. These are things that are learned.
True.
And sometimes these things are deep seated. It goes down to the bone. It's not in your DNA, but sometimes these cultural things, they go down to the bone. It almost as if a person inherits it. That's how deep it goes. But it's once again, it's not a DNA issue. People are people, but there are things that people are learned, and sometimes that stuff goes really deep seated.
Yeah. I got a really interesting question here before we get into it from Jack Welchel. So a bit of off topic, but World War I started because of an assassination. Did China start World War III? They are taking no responsibility for crashing the world economy. Another thing, are the Democrats complicit?
Well, that's a good question, because we're talking about responsibility, man. There's shared responsibility in that. How it's,
yeah.
Not that I'm not excusing China, but it's almost like, can you blame them? Look at everything that we have yielded to China. So our flipping debt, our medicine, our manufacturing. Jeez. Look at everything that we've yielded to China.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It'd almost be dumb to not take advantage of us. But I mean, I'm not saying that they should, but there's enough blame to go around here. And I think, thank God, Trump is trying to take steps to like curb that. But look at everything. I mean, wow, look at all the leverage that we've given to them. And I almost think it's laughable to try to hold something over China's head. It's like, well, China, if you don't, and we can. I mean, it's
dangerous for us too. They make our medications.
Yeah. Look at all the things that they make. Down to our medications.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. As the saying goes, trade don't stop. And, we could try to hang that over our head, but what kind of leverage, what leverage do we have to do that?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, y'all, because I'm not a negotiating wizard like Trump. I mean, he may have like an ace up his sleeve and stuff like that. But I reckon even he knows that, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
So, but to answer your question, yeah, I think there's definitely enough blame to go around. America has, we've, just rolled over it and given China a lot to be able to, put us in some compromising positions.
Yeah, and a lot of it happened when you and I were younger and Bush was in office. And we had the House and the Senate for a long, long time. And I know you and I were like, it's getting kind of weird. Every single thing is made in China now.
Yeah, right.
We were noticing that like 18 years ago.
Yeah, and the things that China gets away with, it's like while America's getting a finger pointed at it with between their environmental standards and their sweatshops and their labor and stuff like that. And people are yelling at America. It's like, look, why are you yelling at us in China? When you have people in China who are willing to work for pennies, because that's not a fault of America, y'all.
Right.
That's not America's fault. That's China's fault.
Absolutely.
Where people is like, look, I'll take it. I'll take it, because what else is there?
Yeah. That's a good point.
And then it's like they're willing to give up their freedom just to work in here, because what else is it? That's not America's fault, y'all.
Yeah.
So, but it's not America. But at the same time, it'd be great if America did have policies that were more friendly to business.
Amen to that.
But between the taxes, between the regulations, the unions.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I might have some union listeners and stuff like that. But come on, y'all. Unions drive up the cost of living. I know y'all want them that nice compensation package and stuff like that, but you might know it's like, that's why unions are always striking. You know, they want bigger compensation packages and stuff like that. And then when they get them and the price of stuff goes up, and then they're back out there again saying, live better, work union. We need better this and better that. It's like, you guys just help to drive up the cost of everything.
Yeah.
It's just a vicious circle. Union is like it's like an organization of minimum wage, always hiking it, hike it, and then people wonder why the prices keep going up.
Yeah.
So these are the things that end up putting us into a position where we're depending on China to make our stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So that stuff's got to stop, man. That's, it's supposed to be where, a nation has a better fit for producing stuff, whether it's, flipping rubber or from rubber to consumables or produce. And there's different countries that, are better for yielding different things that we need. But it's like China is just becoming a place where they just make everything.
It's true. Yeah.
We just always, I thought we weren't, well, it's not totally conservatives' fault, but it's like, I thought we weren't into centralization.
We sure were under Bush.
But we pretty much made like China like a central hub of manufacturing everything.
Yeah.
It's like conservatives say, how do we stand for that? How did that go on?
Totally sold out. Yeah.
But maybe the Lord is, give us an opportunity to teach us a lesson and we'll come out of this. But, maybe it'll get worse before it gets better. All I know is that I can't depend on mankind getting its act together. Me, you, anybody and stuff like that, doesn't matter. We don't want to be part of the problem, but we're in it.
Yeah, true.
And it's and as it's up to us, it's most likely going to get worse. But my hope and my faith is in the Lord,
Amen,
who wrote it in blood.
Yes,
that He can fix all this in one stroke, and He's gonna. Right? It's gonna come down. It's everything's gonna just. It's gonna be one heck of an event, and He's gonna fix it. And then us knuckleheads gonna get into His kingdom. We're gonna mess it up again. Even while He's there, right? We're gonna mess it up again. The devil's gonna get released, and some people are gonna follow him. And then there's gonna be, I reckon, the war to end all wars.
Yeah,
that will be the war to end all wars.
Indeed.
And I'm gonna be carrying, the banner of the Lord. I'd like to think so.
Yes.
Lord, please don't let me be that stupid where I ever put your flag down, ever.
Right.
Right.
Amen.
Carry that.
Please don't let me be that
right.
stupid. Please
don't let me be that dumb. Keep carrying that flag. Keep carrying my banner of the Lord, and go off into eternity with Him, because He's the only one who can fix this. He'll fix it, and then there's the decision of us to say, "Yep, you're right.
Yes,
let's do it. Let's do it."
Best decision ever made.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Hello, Miley.
What's up, y'all?
She's joined us.
All right. Just in time for me to brag on my beard. Right? And that, because I'll be using that Arcadian Buffalo.
Thank God you do. It makes it smell a lot better. And
was
look
my beard funky
better.
before? Did I have a funky beard?
When you eat a cheeseburger.
I know. See, that's what we'll be trying to work. Like, hey, fellas, when we have that beard and stuff like that, whatever you be eating during the day, that stuff stays in your beard. But and we want to me, Miley and I we working on like some sort of way, like a beard refresher or something like that. Not just a beard oil, but like a beard refresher.
That would be awesome.
We can just wipe it off really quick, and get everything that you've eaten pizza and all. Because hey, burnt cheese, caramelized cheese on pizza smells great when it's on pizza. Anything else that smells like cheese does not smell good. All right. And if you eat a pizza, that's all up in your beard, man.
Yeah.
It stays up in there. Right. You want to have that beard refresher, man. Just real quick.
Right.
Bam, right. You're back in action. Yeah.
You're getting a lot more beard snuggles now, huh? Smiley.
Right.
Hooked you up.
All right, y'all. So let's get down. Let's get on into it. Let me check both my feeds here. Everything seems to be looking good. Somebody said, eat a beard cone. No, my beard is
Arcadian Buffalo.
Arcadian
soaps.
Buffalo soaps. Yeah. That's right. Wash.
Wash your beard.
Right. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let us get our high priest and king, Yeshua, and the Holy Spirit in here to guide us through this study. trust in him, that no other influence to get in the way of what it is that he wants us to learn or do.
Yes.
We want to make the truth viral.
Yes.
All right. We want to make his shalom viral. We want to make the gospel just viral. And, and we trust in its healing. We trust in its protection. We trust in the Lord to help us keep level headed, and be, looking out for each other, not just about, our fear of what we're going to get, but, just out of love, we'll make sure that, hey, we'll do what we can to help keep our neighbors, safe.
Yes, Lord.
That's what we're trying to do, not be overbearing, not be meddling or anything like that, but just, take some Christ-led common sense steps, and live our life in freedom. You are the Lord of freedom.
Yes.
And peace of mind. That's
Yes.
you. So we're going to walk in that. And that's how we defeat this.
Yes.
That's how we'll stay straight. We'll keep on going. So we thank you for that, Father, and we trust in you to make that come to pass.
Yes.
In Yeshua's name.
Yeshua's name.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, let's do it. We're on Exodus 28, y'all. And this is another one of those things, man, where it's I feel like I could have pulled so much more. And we're always going to be able to, but it's like one of those things. Because like sometimes I'll do a chapter and I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? I think we made some pretty good yardage with that one. This one I was like, man, because every time, it's always a deep dig. I think so. I hope you guys think that the anti-Fuddy Duddy Bible study in the ZOpium Den is a deep dig. But sometimes that dirt's kind of hard. The Lord always renders something. We always strike oil somewhere, but sometimes that dirt is just hard, man. And this was no exception. And I guess it's fitting because this is dealing with stones. So that's what it was like digging through, man. It was like digging through flipping stones. I needed me a good, hard, sharp shovel, man, to go scratching through this one. So, but let's see what the Lord will bring to us. All right, so we're at Exodus 28, Cohen's garments. And really quick, it's like, so you always get ready to start reading, then you stop. And it's like, I know, I told you, man, I got the ADD. I'm always Jewish Messianic Bible. If you guys, happen to find verses like that start someplace, and it's all going to say the same thing. I'm sorry if it seems that I lost you or whatnot. I have the Jewish Messianic Bible, so that's why my versions may seem a little bit different. It all says the same stuff. Everything that's in your Bible is in this one. It's all canonical. Just the order, may be a little different sometimes. Okay. All right. So bring your brother Aaron near. Bring him near with his sons from among B'nai Yisrael, so that they may minister to me as Kohanim. And sometimes we forget that Moses had a sister too, right?
I don't forget. I'm a girl.
But Moses is literally the baby. He was the baby. He was the youngest of them. And then Aaron is his older brother, and Miriam was the oldest.
Yeah.
She was the one peeking behind the reeds. See what happened to her little brother, right? So yeah, Miriam is the oldest sister. Okay, so that they may minister to me as Kohanim. Aaron and his sons, Nadab. Okay, let's get the meanings on these. Come on, notes. My Zoloft notes popped up. It's like, no, not the Zoloft notes. I know that the Zoloft is eager to get on up in there, but and then of course now my computer's acted squirrely. That's the devil, man. That's what that is.
I was gonna say
that's exactly what that
gremlins.
Is, right? Okay, so we got Aaron, whose name is a teacher, lofty, and a mountain of strength. Nadab is going to be to incite and impel. Abihu, which means he is father. Eliezer, God has helped. Ithamar, land of palms. Okay? So we just want to get those squared up really quick. And then we go back to the read. So we got Abihu, Eliezer, and Ithamar, and Nadab. You are to make holy garments for your brother Aaron, for splendor and for beauty. He's going to be blinged out. You are to speak to all who are skilled, whom I have filled with a spirit of artistry, to make Aaron's garment for consecrating him, so that he may minister me as Cohen. Okay, so check this out. The Lord gives us talents, right? Gives us talents, and we have a decision on whether we're going to use them for him or not. So you could have these bands that are totally secular, artists, actors, musicians, and whichever. And say for instance, Neil Peart, right, who just passed away. And now Neil Peart, you know, an anointed drummer, you know, great drummer, God-given talent. You know, we have God-given talents. Neil Peart, unfortunately, didn't have the desire to use, he was, as far as I know, he's atheist, right? You know, but he chose not to use his talents to recognize the Lord, right? So, but the talent was given to him by God.
Yeah.
You know, as a drummer, he had his own voice, because there's a lot of, you know, y'all, there's a lot of amazing musicians out there. It's almost, we're like in the days where, again, we're in the days again, where amazing is almost, is common.
Oh,
you look,
wow.
you know, you can look on the internet and see people doing, amazing guitarists and bassists and drummers and people who are filming stuff independently, and it's amazing cinematography and photography and whatnot. Amazing that the content out there, it's just flooded, right, with amazing stuff. And it's so much amazing stuff that the stuff starts to look mediocre.
This is your observation as a musician?
Yeah. You know, it's like and you know, now it was, you know, it's been like this. I mean, when people really had to, when they really had to bring their talents together, when they wanted to get discovered. I mean, you look back like in the early 1900s and whatnot, you see people doing stuff. It's like, dang, man, we thought that the stuff that people were doing today was new. It's like they were doing that, you know, 100 years ago.
Wow.
Right? You see people doing that, but now it's become more common. Like more people are doing it. You had your pioneers who were doing it. Now more people are doing it. And it's amazing stuff. The things that people are able, whether it's physically or like visual arts, physical arts, music arts, you know, theater and things like that. People are doing amazing things, and people are, of course, are now becoming more scrutinizing of these things.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's almost like people are more entertained by critiquing work now. Everybody wants to be a critic. That's
so true.
Right?
Yeah,
people want to qualify themselves intellectually or whichever by just ripping everything apart.
Yeah.
You know, that's like people's like little social, you know, gaining their social stature, you know, about how well they can criticize it. That's like the new fashion.
It's a new entertainment.
You know, it used to be the critics, you know, the snotty critics who would just tear everything apart. Now everybody's critic.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's where we are now, where everything is just, it's like amazing, but it's almost mediocre, you know, not mediocre, but it's just common now. Wow. You know, but the thing is, and the reason why I'm saying this, y'all, is because there's amazing, but then there's amazing where a person has their own voice. That's the thing about it, that uniqueness. You know, I remember like, you know, like when we take like music in the 70s and stuff like that, there's a whole bunch of bands out there. But, you know, when you heard, you know, different bands and singers and stuff like that, you know, you knew who was who.
True. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, if you had singers like, you know, if it was like Shaka Khan, you could tell Shaka Khan from Tina Marie, or you could tell, you know, you could tell them from Denise Williams or Stephanie Mills. You know, it was the same genre, but they had their own voice.
Yeah.
And or whether you have bands like Earth, Wind and Fire, Tower of Power, Heat Wave and stuff like that, it's like you knew who was who.
Yeah.
You know, LTD, it's like you knew who these cats were. Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, it's like you just, you know, it was still the same genre, but they just, you know, and it's like the 90s was almost like the last generation of the classics, of where it's like, you know, even if it was the Seattle sound, you knew Alice in Chains from Nirvana.
That's true.
You know, whichever. Nowadays, you know, after the turn of the century, you know, and I guess I have to include, but to be fair, I'm grandfathered in because I've been making music since the 90s. So I don't have, and people still, I've even heard people say, it's like, yeah, you know, you kind of have that 90. I don't take it as a compliment as if it's dated or anything like that. You know, if you say, yeah, you kind of got that 90s sound, that was a great decade for music. You know, and that 90s sound was like the last era of classic sound.
Yeah.
You know, that was it. And it was almost like you just want to take that and just kind of like keep capitalizing and doing it better. But after the turn of the century, music, a lot of it just sounds the same.
I agree.
It may be well produced and all that sort of. It's like the programs that we have at our disposal now that's so accessible to everybody.
Yep.
Everybody's producing music, but it sounds amazing, but it sounds the same. The template just sounds the same.
Even Christian rock music
all
sounds the same to me now.
Right? So, it's like the vocals, the same guitar, everything is just like the same.
Kind of morphed into that because 10 years ago when I actually became a Christian, I was listening to Christian rock and listening to Air One, and it still had some diversity.
Yeah.
But now,
right? Yeah, it's you can tell who was from who, but now I can hear 10 different bands. They sound the same. I just think it's like the same artist. So at any rate, y'all, the reason why I'm saying this is because, this is the Lord telling them, I'm going to give you the skill. I give you the skill. When people wonder, it's like, where does that talent come from? God is telling you, my skills come from here. All right. Your skills come from the Lord. So right here, now it's going to talk about whom I fill with a spirit of artistry to make Aaron's garments for consecrating him so that he may minister to me as Cohen. These are garments that are to make a breast. Okay, hold on before I go on. Now, it seems as we read through Exodus and we pretty much read through the Pentateuch, it seems like Moses is never ordained as a priest, right? I don't know if a priest, if Moses. Now, I'm just saying what people argue. It's like people said Moses wasn't a priest. He wasn't high priest. He wasn't. I don't recall God calling him a high priest. I would say, however, that I think according to Psalms, I think maybe Psalms 99:6. Psalms, according to I think David is a psalmist here, that Moses was a priest. Psalms 99:6 says Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Samuel was among those who were called on his name. They called on the Lord and he answered them. So according to Psalms 99:6, Moses was a priest. Moses performed priestly duties. True. But he was never, as far as I know, he was never consecrated as a priest per se. When you look at the fashion here. But I would say that Moses sharing holy ground, when the Lord says, Moses, take off your sandals, you're standing on holy ground, that might have been consecration enough. Right? That might have been consecration enough for Moses. And it's like, it's a given, dude. You're my priest. All right. Matter of fact, Moses, the distinction, God may have not told Moses that he was a priest, but God did tell Moses something else. He told him, it's like, dude, you will be God. I will make you God before Pharaoh. True. Right? Yeah. He gave him that distinction. So it's like, I think it's pretty fair. And God, as Christ is our priest. So God is priest anyway. God's supernatural projection of Melchizedek is a priest. Yeah. God's natural projection of Jesus is priest. Amen. So if God is telling Moses that he's God in his image, right? You are acting on my behalf, then guess what that makes Moses? Priest.
Yeah, I would think so.
Right?
Makes sense.
And then God takes it a step further and says that you will be God before Pharaoh and Aaron will be your prophet. Yeah. Aaron was a prophet before he was consecrated as a priest.
Wow.
So
I never thought about that.
So these things, so with the argument of was Moses a priest, I would say, I think for all intents and purposes, Moses was definitely a priest. And from there, given the distinction to consecrate the next generation of priests. I mean, strangely enough, because Aaron was supposed to be, I don't know if it's supposed, let me walk this back, because Aaron's the older brother. But Moses was the one called upon. Maybe it's because of the circumstances that qualified Moses. Okay. As a picture of Christ. Like, say, for instance, Moses being drawn from the water. He was drawn from the water and adopted. Yeah. By basically God on earth. Pharaoh, God on earth. Yeah, definitely true. Lowercase g, right? And when Jesus was drawn from the water, that's when the Lord recognized him as his son. Right? Wow. So it's like you see these pictures and stuff like that, and these parallels that come up that show where Moses is going to be, a Christ figure.
You mean at Jesus' baptism?
Yeah, at his baptism. Yeah. Right. So, with Aaron, and then Moses was like, no, I'm not well spoken and stuff like that. And God, is gonna get a little irritated with Moses. It says, okay, Aaron is gonna do this, but God made Moses God before Pharaoh and Aaron his prophet. So I just wanted to kind of like run over that really quick. These are garments that they are to make: a breastplate, an ephod, a robe, a tunic of checkered work, a turban, and a sash. They are to make holy garments for your brother Aaron and his sons, so that he may minister to me as Cohen. They are to use the gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine linen. So we got these colors. We're gonna have gold, and gold is gonna speak to the royalty of God. God, of course, is all royalty, and gold is being a native element. When you pull it from the ground, it is what it is. Right, gold is gold. It's not you don't have to mix it with anything like that to make something like copper and tin. You're gonna get bronze. Gold is what it is. Just as God is what he is. He is native royalty. He just is, right? So that's where the gold is going to represent him on that. And then you got to have the blue, which is going to represent the wisdom, heavenly wisdom, justice, righteousness. You can have the purple, which is going to be the amalgamation of the blue, that eternal law, that eternal justice, that eternal wisdom, fused with the scarlet, which is going to represent the atoning blood, mankind. All right. And the human royalty of Jesus fused with the eternal royalty of Jesus. And because of his sacrifice brings us into the eternal royalty of Jesus. You, Jesus. So that's where we get that purple. That purple comes in there, right? And then of course, scarlet by itself. Purple is one of those things that has to be made. It's not a native color. It's going to take the primary colors of the blue and the scarlet, and then you're going to get your purple. So now let's examine these garments. We're going to take the breastplate. The breastplate is, I reckon, is where we're going to position the stones. Now, this is the thing about the breastplate, y'all, I think we could talk about this here. We're going to come into those jewels in a little bit, but check this out. The breastplate is going to be, of course, close to the Cohen's heart, right? Yeah. It's close to the Cohen's heart. And it's meant to be like that. So we're going to read that. All right. So we're going to have this breastplate. It's going to go over the ephod. The ephod's kind of like this garment. It's almost kind of like an apron, but like a double-sided apron. All right. And the apron is going to be kind of stitched, to the ephod. The ephod's going to be kind of stitched to this breastplate. All right, and you're going to have your tunic, you're going to have a robe and all that. But I want to just talk about the breastplate. The breastplate is going to have the jewels that are going to have all the names of Israel on it. The breastplate, I'm sorry, I keep saying breastplate, because I'm trying to get to this. I'm trying to drive home breastplate, because the breastplate corresponds to the Greek word kolpos. And kolpos is used when Jesus is talking about the bosom of Abraham. Now, when we hear the term bosom, we think breast, right? But the breakdown of bosom, it just means chest, right? But also included in its meaning, it means the fold. The fold, right? The fold is like as in the fold of a garment, or to bring somebody into the fold. So we're talking about the bosom of Abraham. You're bringing somebody into the fold. You're bringing somebody into this embrace.
Interesting.
So now, hold on. Let me make sure that I'm staying steady with my notes here. All right. Now, let's see. When we're talking about the reason why I'm saying this, because when Jesus says, when we talk about the bosom of Abraham, we're talking about this breastplate that is close to the heart, that is a picture of the bosom of Abraham, what Jesus is going to be talking about. Remember, y'all, all this stuff is supposed to be pointing to Jesus. When Jesus makes these statements, it's all about him pointing back to who he was. Amen. Right? Yeah. So Abraham is, when they're talking about our father Abraham is like, when Jesus talking about Abraham's bosom, he's talking about the priest who kept the names of Israel close to his heart in that breastplate. Okay, because that breastplate is supposed to be it's like a fold. Wow. And they're brought into the fold in this fashion. All right, so let me see.
That's cool.
Okay, so let's go.
That's a lot. No wonder I haven't seen you for a week.
Right now, hold on, because let me see. I wanted to talk about. Yeah, let me just go on this right here. No. I'm gonna save it. Wait a minute. I gotta organize my notes better. I don't know. Okay. Sometimes I get a little excited because I want to take it to the next step. But it's like, let me just read it first. So they are to make an ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, finely twisted linen, the work of a skillful craftsman. It is to have 2 shoulder pieces stitched to the 2 ends so that they may be joined together. The skillfully woven band which is upon it, and which it is to be bound. It is to be made like the design, and from the same piece of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet, and finely twisted linen. You are to take 2 onyx stones and engrave on them the names of Bnei Yisrael, 6 of their names on 1 stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stone, in the orders of their birth. Okay, so that right there, that kind of gives you which names are we talking about, because as we know, the names change.
Yeah.
So in some cases, Dan is going to be left out and replaced with, Manasseh. Some Manasseh and Ephraim are included in there. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes Levi's in there. Sometimes he's not. But this right here is letting you know that it is going to be the names of those born to Jacob in their order. So we know it's going to be them. However, on the breastplate, that might be something different, because later on it doesn't say their names. Instead, it says their tribes. So, it's like, okay, now, and it doesn't seem to say for sure, except for that one little clue that the breastplate might be, it's like the shoulder plates may be Old Testament origin, the shoulder plates may be Old Testament origin. The breastplate might be New Testament, focused. And even in the New Testament, I think the names seem to be kind of different. All right. So, let's read on. Names of the remaining 6 on the other stone in the order of their birth, with the work of a gem cutter, engraving a seal, etch the 2 stones in the order of the names of Bnei Yisrael, make them enclosed in settings of gold, fasten the 2 stones upon the shoulder pieces of the ephod to be memorial stones for Bnei Yisrael. So Aaron is to bear their names before Adonai on his 2 shoulders as a reminder. All right, so check this out. Let me see if I can get this right. So it's on their shoulders, right? These are the names that are supposed to be brought to the Lord on the Cohen, who's basically, he's like the defense attorney. He comes in there and he intercedes, right? He's a picture of Christ in his intercession, okay? Now, this right here is a picture of Christ in that the government is going to be on his shoulders.
Amen.
When it says the government is on his shoulders, y'all, it's not just talking about the government per se, but it's talking about the burden, the rule, right? The ultimate render. It's Jesus's burden to be the ultimate fruit, the ultimate rendering of Israel, right? That's who Jesus, that's what he carries on his shoulders. The redemption of all mankind is what Jesus carries on his shoulders. But the burden that the Cohen comes in there to present before God, that's on their shoulders, that is what Jesus is going to be the fulfillment of.
Amen.
Right? So now when we're talking about these things are going to be the Mishra, the rule, the dominion. Now, how am I coming to this conclusion, y'all? Because when we say Mishra, these words are coming out of the word Sarah, which means to persist. It means to exert oneself, to persevere, to wrestle with. Remember, y'all, the word is Mishra, and it's coming from the word Sarah, meaning to exert oneself, to persevere, to wrestle with. And these words are rooted in the word Israel. And what does Israel mean? To strive with, to wrestle with God. So when we're talking about this rule, this burden that's going to be on the shoulders, the government's, that's what this word breaks down to, this Mishra, right? It's the burden of Israel is on Jesus's shoulders. But remember what was said to Abraham, because of Abraham, all nations are going to be blessed. All nations are going to be blessed, right? All nations are going to be blessed. And Jesus is the ultimate rendering of that.
Amen. Indeed.
That's what he carries on his shoulders. So that's what that all breaks down to, y'all, when it comes into that.
That's cool.
All pictures of Christ, y'all. That's what the tabernacle is all about. That's what this priesthood was all about. It's to point you to Jesus.
Yes.
All right, so and make them enclosed in settings of gold, fasten gold stones upon the shoulder pieces of the ephod to be a memorial stones for B'nai Israel. So Aaron is to bear the names before Adonai on his two shoulders as a reminder. Fashion filigree settings of gold, along with 2 chains of pure gold of braided work, and you will attach the chains to the filigree settings. Make a breastplate of judgment, the work of a skillful craftsman. You are to make like the designs of the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and finely twisted linen. It is to be square and doubled over, a span in length and a span in width. So doubled over. So it's like a it's like a pocket, right? What do we say? Just like the coal post, when we're talking about when Jesus says the bosom of Abraham, coal post means the same thing. In the fold, right? It's like it even says like sinus, it's a pocket.
Interesting.
Right? That's what we're being brought into.
So weird.
Cool. Make a breastplate. Okay, we read that already.
17.
Thank you. Set within it 4 rows of jewels. A row of, okay, now some Bibles are going to say different things. Like some Bibles are going to say like you're going to have ruby. And it's difficult, y'all, because when you look at this stuff in the Hebrew, I hate to say this, but sometimes it's their definition renderings are they're kind of redundant, because it's like, a gemstone. It's like when you look at each word, it's like it means a gemstone. Fiery gemstone, bright, flashing gemstone. And it doesn't really say like what gemstone it really is. It's like you have to. That's when when you hear me say on several occasions full biblical context, you might not get the meaning of it in its verse. You got to look at the other, how it's used in other places.
Yeah.
To narrow down what gems we're talking about. Right. So, and the characteristics of the gems themselves, you kind of have to look, because you'll get different things. Like, say, for instance, like the first one will say ruby, but other meanings will say carnelian.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Sardis will be another thing that you'll get. So you'll get like these different jewels, and these jewels aren't the same. They may have some similar characteristics, but they're not the same. I'm gonna and once again, y'all, this is all, of course, everybody should be doing their own study. And all right, just checking my feed really quick. Somebody said that they're experiencing a little bit of lag. Hopefully that'll clear up. Other people saying no, it's hard to okay, cool. Looks like we're still looking good. Okay. The one, and of course, everybody, we do our own study, and but we all should be counting on the same Holy Spirit, to lead us through it. So interestingly enough, carnelian is what I came to. Carnelian is going to have like this kind of rusty red color to it, as opposed to the ruby, which is more I think has more clarity. But the carnelian, the reason why I'm going to go with carnelian is because, of course, this word is associated with carnal. And we want to show when we're talking about the word that's going to be used in Hebrew for the stone, the word is actually Adam. Yeah.
That's weird.
Adam is the word that's used in this verse, referring to the stone, and it is Adam, as in man. So, but in this context, it's going to be referring to a stone, and it's pointing to the flesh of man, our desires and stuff like that. So when you break down the word Adam, it's going to be like to show blood, as in the face, or flush, or turn rosy, to dye or make red, ruddy, flesh associated with man, carnal, right? So it's I think it's a fitting stone and characteristic that it's going to be carnelian, pointing to the carnality of man and stuff like that.
Sounds like it.
And you know, and it speaks to the blood. And if I may, I want to revisit really quick, you know, for those who may be, you know, new to the study and, you know, maybe like wonder, yeah, you know, speaking of blood, why is blood so important to God? Why does, you know, the blood sacrifice and all the sacrifices and stuff like that? What is it with God and this fixation on blood? Okay, I'll try to make this quick. The thing about blood, y'all, is because blood is where our life flows. All right. Needless to say, and that's not like some new age statement or anything like that. That's our biology. Right. We need blood to get, you know, to transport things to the rest of our body that we need, like air and, you know, and our nooch and all that sort of stuff. So, excuse me, I don't have coronavirus.
I was gonna say.
All right.
Should I wear a mask?
All right. Stay focused. So the thing is, when man was created, God breathed life into man, meaning that we were supposed to depend on the breath of that God gave us. All right? God's breath is pure, it's holy. That is what we were supposed to live off of. All right. Because Satan was given dominion, now we depend on the air that he rules.
Yeah.
All right. The signature of the devil is death. You can see that with oxidation.
Absolutely.
All right. You see things rust, you see things mold and decompose and stuff like that. So when things oxidize, that is the signature of the devil over the air of which he rules. Well, the thing is, we're dependent on that air.
Yeah.
We're dependent on the air that Satan rules. And without blood, we don't live. And it just so happens that we need that blood to grab a hold of that oxygen molecule to take it to the rest of our body. That's why blood is so important to God, because that blood, that very stuff that we need, that carries the air that we need, God pours his wrath out on that. Because we are dependent on something besides him. Without air, we dead. Without blood, we dead. But the devil rules over both.
Yikes.
So that blood has to be shed. And God pours his wrath out over that.
Wow.
That's why blood is so important to God. There has to be that atoning animal, right? Because remember, y'all, animals were made the same way that we were. The difference is that animals weren't given the distinction of being made in God's image.
Right.
All right. And the Bible doesn't say that God breathed life into them. All right. But they were made from the dust of the earth, just like we were. And that animal is atonement pro tem. So that animal's blood has to be spilled, and God pours his wrath out over that. Because blood is life.
Yeah.
And the devil still rules over that air. God pours his wrath out over that.
Wow.
And then where Jesus is concerned, also Jesus breathed the air that the devil rules over. Jesus' blood was shed. God poured his wrath out over that.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? That's why blood is so important. I hope that makes sense. So let's see. So we covered the ruby, or which I've come to conclude, the carnelian. You may have a different opinion. I totally understand. And that's going to be associated with Adam, and that corresponds. I reckon that's going to be, if we're doing it according to their birth, that's going to correspond to Reuben, and Reuben was definitely a carnal guy. All right. And then we're gonna, excuse me. And then we're gonna come to the chrysolite. Your Bible may say topaz, right? Yeah. So this is gonna be chrysolite, and this is gonna be associated, I reckon, with Simeon. Simeon being the second. And y'all, it doesn't necessarily mean that the gems are relevant to the particular son of Israel. It just, that's where their name is going to be etched. If it's that their name when it gets down to like maybe the switch out between Manasseh or Dan or anything like that. But this one is going to be chrysolite is what I came to, as opposed to topaz. I guess they're similar, but not. And this gem, the thing about this gem is that it has an olive green. And matter of fact, it's even called olivine. And of course, olives are associated with Israel, right? Yeah. That's the oil from the olives that are squeezed out, mashed out, or beaten to get the oil for the lamps and stuff like that. So we got that one, and then we're gonna have the next one is gonna be, your Bible may say emerald. Mine is gonna be baraketh, and this is gonna be kind of gross. Baraketh, more so as opposed to emerald, I've come to find that it means what's the word? Carbuncle. And carbuncle is it's a stone, and it's supposed to look like a lump of hot coal. That's what it looks like. But carbuncle in the medical world is used to describe a very inflamed cluster of boils.
Ew, geez.
Nasty, right? That's some Dr. Pimple Popper type stuff. No, I don't really watch. I've surfed and I've seen.
His wife does, though.
Yeah. Yeah, women like this. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
My mom was a veterinarian.
Right. Yeah. So you've been in the operating room. You've seen it
plenty of times.
So carbuncle is more associated, I think, with the term baraketh. In the Hebrew word is baraketh. Forgive my bad pronunciation. And it, like I said, it has this lump of coal, hot lump of coal quality to it. And which could be, and when it comes to boils, they're associated with judgments of God, people breaking out in clusters of boils. And I reckon Levi is going to be the name that is going to be put on that. If his name isn't switched out, I'm not sure whose name it will be, because sometimes the names aren't always written in order. When you go through the scriptures, the names will usually be the same. And we're given a heads up that names are going to be switched out. Manasseh and Ephraim switched out. And things like that. You're given a heads up on it. So it's not like the Bible is being inconsistent and not giving you a warning, that these names are going to be switched out. And you get an idea of why. But sometimes like the order may be different in the Bible. It's the jury's still out on why the names would be different, or in a different order. Okay. So, and then we get to next one. I think we're going into the next row, and the next one is going to be turquoise. And turquoise, coming from the word turquoise, from the French turquoise. And that's going to be, the thing about turquoise, y'all, is that it's like hydrated, oxidized, it's hydrated oxidization of copper.
Yeah.
All right. And as we know, copper being the key element in bronze, you're going to alloy that with tin. And so we have this redemptive quality that's going in with copper, which is going to be made with tin to things to make like the bronze serpent media. Hey, and the quality of copper, of course, is redemption, salvation, repentance. And this is going to be associated with Judah, who is the line that is going to render our ultimate redeemer. So it makes sense, with turquoise. This is like one of those jewels that kind of like definitely makes sense. And of course, one of the things that we want to be careful with is to kind of not try to, and it's me, I try to be careful with, is to not assign, meanings to these things, that sound like fanciful or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? We try to assign, meaning to this stuff. Definitely not something I want to do. I try to read this stuff carefully and look at it and make sure that this squares up with the characteristics of the element. Definitely squares up with using these things to paint the picture of Christ that's supposed to be painted to us. So I try to be really careful with that, y'all. Yeah. And forgive me if it sounds like I'm taking any liberties, because I certainly don't want to. The Bible speaking for itself is definitely enough for me. But sometimes, you see stuff like that where people try to assign, things like that, try to give it more meaning. I'm not trying to give it more meaning. I'm trying to pull meaning out of it. That's what I'm trying to do. But sometimes, I don't want to end up, tearing, it's like something, that ain't really there.
Well, no, you're just looking at the meaning behind the words in here.
Right. Trying to get that, really trying to get that clear picture of the Lord here.
Happens to be cool.
Right. Right on. And then we're going to come to sapphire. I think sapphire is a pretty safe bet that it means what it means. The word in Hebrew itself is sapphire. So we get the word sapphire from that, or from Sefer. And interestingly enough, y'all, when we talk about sapphire, once again, this is blue, and we're looking at the wisdom I saw somebody put in the Google feed, do not Google carbuncle. Yeah, you'll get grossed out.
Oh,
it's gross. Right? If you Google carbuncle, you're not going to get the jewel. You're most likely going to get some ugly images.
It sounds like a cartoon character to me.
That's
carbuncle.
Right. I get froggy when I talk a lot, y'all.
That you need to be drinking more of your tea.
I don't have coronavirus. All right. All right. So now the thing about, and we're talking about blue, we're talking about eternal wisdom, heavenly wisdom. We're talking about judgment. Not judgment, justice. Sorry about that. Justice, the law, the pure law, perfect law, right? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about sapphire. Now, when we break down the word sefer, included in its meaning, it means a document, writing, a book. So we know that the law was written by the finger of God. And now there's arguments when it says that those stones that Moses was given with the law written by God, it says that God himself made the stones, right? Now, if this is holy ground, and this is where God was standing, because his throne, where he is sapphire. Yeah. So the tablets themselves could have been tablets of sapphire. I don't know. They might have been stone, but even when God wrote on them, when he touches the stone, if he writes it with his finger, the lettering itself could have been sapphire. And the letters came through both sides of the tablet. Yeah. So what that means, y'all, is that when Moses holds up the law goes for him too. He can't just be telling people, you have to do this and not me. It's like, no, that law is going to be looking right back at Moses.
So
that's
he
why
wasn't a typical politician.
Exactly. Right. Moses kept it real. All right. But if meaning that if the words came through both sides of his tablet, that means that when God touched it, it burned right to the other side. And when it crystallized this stone, the writings may have become sapphire itself. Don't know. Could be. Squares up. But once again, that's speculation. All right. And once again, that's coming from sefer, which is where we're going to get the word sapphire, is associated with writing.
Oh, really?
Right. That's because that's what it is. When we break down the word sefer, document, writing, as in a book, and the law.
Okay, I get it. Wow.
So that's where we get the term sapphire from. This jewel. And of course, blue, the law, justice, heavenly wisdom.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Wow.
Makes sense. Diamond, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next stone. I think diamond is what it is. And the word for that is yahalom. And there's even a Israeli special forces called yahalom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't think you want none of that.
Yeah,
right?
Nope.
And it is in yahalom is diamond, and even their insignia, is a diamond. Nice. So I reckon they know the language better than I do. So I think it's pretty safe to say that yahalom actually means diamond.
I'm sure Jason will tell us.
Yeah, thanks, man. But the thing is, and once again, when you look at the word itself, it's not really gonna tell you diamond. It's one of those things, a gemstone, or something like that. Doesn't really say, but you got to look at it in context. And when you see the word used, it's kind of more so referring to the hardness of the stone. So when we think of the hardness of the stone, diamond is mostly exemplary for that. So it's pretty safe to say that because of the hardness, it's probably talking about a diamond. And usually it's used in the context of striking down something, okay, to smite something, to hammer, to sledge. All right. So it's that's why, it's most likely meaning diamond. And the name that's going to be with that is I think it's going to be Naphtali. And the last one that we disappeared, that's going to be Dan. And interestingly enough, Dan's name means to judge. So, could be that. Jacinth, I really wasn't able to find much on Jacinth, guys. Jacinth, the best I could tell you is that Gad is most likely going to be the name that's going to be inscribed on that with Jacinth. The next one is going to be Agate. And the only the word for that is Shebo. and that's going to be associated with Asher. The only thing I could really come up with on agate, though, and this might be significant, is that when Lucifer, when he was the anointed cherub, when given the characteristics of the stones associated with him, the only one that I couldn't find that was in his jewel work was the Shebo.
Interesting.
That jewel's not in there. But it's in with the priest, but it ain't with him. So that's a little interesting tidbit that I could find.
Weird.
You might find it's like the rendering, you might get agate for both of them, but the Hebrew word Shebo doesn't correspond to both of them. All right, so that's maybe something to check out. Then when the next thing we're going to come to is amethyst, and amethyst in full context basically means dream stone. Amethyst, the word for that is kalam in the Hebrew, is kalam or aklama, and also kalam, meaning healthy, strong, but it also means to dream. And when you look at it in context, like say for instance, when Jacob has his dream of the angels descending on the ladder, Jacob's ladder, it says that he put his head on a stone and he had this dream. So in the context of that, the word kalam is used. All right. So it's having this dream quality to it, to the stone, the amethyst. The next thing we're going to come to is the beryl. Beryl, the Hebrew word for this is Tarshish, and the jury's out on if Tarshish is meaning the same thing as is the same place as Tarsus. Not really sure. I tried to find it. I looked at other comments, and people are having the same question if Tarshish and Tarsus are the same thing. But Tarshish is another name for a Benjamite.
Really?
All right. So when you speak of a Tarshish, you're talking of a Benjamite. It just so happens that Paul was a Benjamite.
Yeah.
And he comes from Tarsus.
Yeah. True.
All right. So and the name that's going to be associated with this one is, you would think it'd be Benjamin, but it's not. It's Zebulun. Zebulun is going to be the name that's most likely going to be written on that one. Next, we come to the onyx stone, the Shoham, and Joseph is going to be associated with that stone. And that name, it's in Hebrew, it's once again it's a gemstone, but in the Greek it means fingernail. Remember we talked about that earlier. And then lastly, we're going to come to jasper, and that's going to be the one that's associated with Benjamin. And not much information I could really pull together with my reading as far as that goes. All right, y'all. So those are the stones that are going to be on the breastplate. Remember that breastplate? That's all referring to. You got the tribes of Israel kept close to the heart, representing the bosom of Abraham that Jesus was talking about, all pointing back to him. Let's see. And okay, they are to be enclosed in a gold filigree settings. The stones are to be engraved in the order of the names. The stones are to be engraved in the order of the names of Bnei Israel, 12 according to their names, like the etchings at the signet seal, one corresponding to each name of the 12 tribes. Okay, that's where it very well could be, y'all, that the breastplate is the same names that's going to be on the shoulder plates. Could be the same names, could be the same order. That's just the way that it is. It's just one of the things that kind of throws me is that the words that are used. The first words is going to be the names, as in the names of the 12 sons, and then the next words used is going to be the tribes.
Yeah.
So it might be splitting hairs. We don't really know. Just something to consider. Let's see. So also you're to make upon the breastwork braided chains of wreathed work from pure gold. Forge the breastplates, 2 rings of gold, and fasten the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. Then attach the 2 wreath chains of golds on the 2 rings at the 2 ends of the breastplate. The other 2 ends of the chains you are to place in the 2 settings and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod in front. So you are to make 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, on the edge of it to be toward the inner side of the ephod, and make the 2 rings and place them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod underneath, in the front, close to where it is joined, above the artfully woven band of the ephod. Then they will bind the breastplate by the rings to the rings of the ephod with the blue thread, so that it may be on it, on the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and so that the breastplate will not come loose from it. It'll shake it loose. All right. Aaron will bear the names of Bnei Israel in the breastplate of judgment on his heart. Remember? All right.
Yeah.
In the breastplate of the judgment on his heart, whenever he enters the holy place, as a continual memorial before Adonai. Also put the Urim and the Thummim and Urim and Thummim. And once again, y'all, that's it's the Urim is like once again means like just a flame. It's like a light, a flame light or something like that. And then the Thummim is pointing to like is like judgment. You know, it's once again it's doesn't render a lot, but it's basically, you know, this light, you know, light of thumbs up or thumbs down. It's kind of like that. All right. Unum and thumb. And then let's see, of course, as usual, check it yourself. Written in the breastplate of judgment, so that they will be on Aaron's heart when he goes in before Adonai. Aaron will bear the judgment of Bnei Israel on his heart before Adonai continually. You are to make the robe of the ephod entirely of blue, right? So God wants them covered, right, with his wisdom. And his wisdom can't be torn, right? Because they're going to put, you know how they tear the robes and stuff like that? You can't tear this one. There's a hole for the head. Just put it up through the center. And the binding of woven work around the hole as a collar so that it may not be torn. On the hem of it, you are to make pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet, all of them, with golden bells between them, one golden bell and a pomegranate. The other, and then another golden bell and a pomegranate. So there's going to be a series around the hem, all around the robe, and that's so you know that the priest is still alive.
Yeah.
And he didn't mess up. Right? So, I don't hear no jingling. How we gonna get him? Who gonna get him, man? All right, I ain't gonna get him. You go get him.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Didn't they tie a rope around their foot so that they could drag them out?
I don't know. Is that in there? I haven't seen. Okay, yeah, I think that's how they got him. I forgot about that. Or it's like I don't know.
We'll have Jason confirm it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Okay. It must be worn by Aaron whenever he ministers. The sound, it's like, so, you know, as it is, because if he ain't wearing it, he dies, right? When he ministers.
Yeah.
But notice that when Aaron, when his time to die comes, he's got to take that thing off.
Yeah.
When he takes it off, he dies. All right. Let's see. The sound will be heard when he goes into the holy place before Adonai, and when he comes out, so that he does not die. Right? It seems like it's like, wow, well, God, why are you so, doesn't that seem like such a trivial thing, God? I mean, you get so mad at the slightest thing. You eat the fruit that you're not supposed to eat, and everybody's gonna die and all that sort of stuff. Y'all, when you think it's like, let me just back this up. Let's back up to the Garden of Eden, and we talked about this before. When you look at everything that God gave Adam and Eve,
yeah,
I mean, it's a man. Put yourself in God's shoes, right? God's probably got some really nice shoes. It's like, man, I'm giving you right up front by grace. You didn't have to earn any of this. You were born, into the best hookup ever.
Yeah.
You never get old. You got it's like you got the best job. You're gonna be gainfully employed.
Yeah.
The universe is your backyard to vacation in. It's like your life is perfect.
Yeah.
You're given everything.
You don't have to work by the sweat of your brow.
Right? Yeah, and every work that you do is going to render something good.
Right? Yeah.
So all I'm asking y'all to do is just one thing, man. Don't eat from this tree. That's it. That's my only condition. That's my only policy for you.
Yeah.
That's my policy for you right there. So now if you gave somebody so much and you asked so little, I'm asking you for so little in return, I'd be a little mad too.
Yeah.
I'd be a little mad. But the thing is, y'all, because these are the kind of things when you put this in to humanity's context. I want you now think about this, y'all. Think about this. Look at what happened with this little request of Adam and Eve. Don't eat from this tree. And look what happened. Death. It's spring break, y'all. Don't go to the beaches. We asking too much?
Right.
A little sacrifice for you to make. It's a little sacrifice to not do what you guys do all year long anyway. It's a little sacrifice. You have people out there going to do it anyway. Somebody's going to die.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So this is where now imagine where God is coming from. It's like when you have this, everything is perfect, and it's not like God is asking for much. Look, don't do this. If you do, because once you go down that road, people are going to start taking all kinds of liberties.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you got death.
Yeah.
That's why. It's not like God was asking for so much. And when you're living in this kingdom, when you're living in this setting, what excuse do you have to transgress? You ain't got none. Yeah. What you need to steal for? You don't need to steal. You don't need to steal from nobody. You got the best of everything. Ain't nobody's grass gonna be greener.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna need to covet anybody's stuff.
Yeah.
You're not gonna need to slander anybody. What you gonna slander anybody for? What sort of gains are you gonna get for slandering somebody else? None. You're not gonna get anything better than anybody else have. You already got the best.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna need to commit adultery. Your wife gonna be fine, right? Hooked up. I'm hooked up.
Oh.
Right? You ain't no need to commit adultery. Why? You're gonna have the best. You guys are gonna be the best for each other. God's gonna make it where it's like everything is just the best. And if you step out of line with that, you're a fool.
Amen.
You know? That's why even in the millennial kingdom, it talks about there are people gonna die.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have you're gonna be reigning with Jesus. We're gonna be there. And even in that millennial kingdom, there's gonna be people who are gonna get greedy. And no excuse for it. None. So when you look at God from that angle, is God really petty? Heck
right.
no.
Is he
It's
really
us.
a tyrant?
It's us. When we take what he's given and we're just like, that ain't enough.
Amen.
We're gonna do what we want to do anyway. Even God even said, it's like everything in the garden. You got everything. Freely eat. Enjoy yourself. This tree right here, no.
Yeah.
All right. And where Eve made the mistake, I know people will be like, they say that, Eve added to scripture added to God's word by saying we're not supposed to eat from the tree and we're not supposed to touch it. Just want to cover this really quick. The issue here is that they were supposed to tend to the garden, everything. All right. Which means that they got to touch that tree. They got to tend to the garden. So it's like, yeah, you got to remove things. You got to, keep the tree, water it, and do whichever. I'm not a botanist or anything like that, but there's certain things that you got to do to keep, the trees healthy, the vegetation healthy. There's certain things you got to do, which involves you touching it. Well, Eve said, we're not supposed to touch it. That's not what God said. You got to tend to these trees. All right. Eve's attitude, if I may speculate, was a lot of people's attitude. And we can see that in humanity. If I ain't got nothing to do with it, if I ain't going to benefit from it, I don't see why it is worthy of my attention.
Well, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
That could be where Eve was coming from. Since I do not get to partake of this tree, I'm not going to tend to the tree.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, she might have just been overzealously obedient, trying to be obedient. It says God said to not eat from it. He said not to touch it. That's probably where she took it. Either way, she was wrong. All right.
Sure.
It's not so much that she added to scripture. It's not just that. The thing is that she misunderstood. She misunderstood something because their job was to tend to that garden. And she figures since she can't eat from the tree, she's not supposed to tend to it. So that's where she made her mistake.
Interesting.
All the reason why I'm saying all this, y'all, is because let's make it clear. God is not petty. God is not this judgmental God.
Right.
It's the things that we do that invite death.
Yes.
Invite death in the first place.
We're the petty ones.
We're the ones who do it. All right. So even these little things that we might do can cause big problems.
Amen.
Let's see. Also, 36. Okay. Also, to make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, like the engravings of the seal, holy to Adonai. Okay. You are to make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, like the engravings of a seal, holy to Adonai. Attach it with a violet cord onto the turban onto the front of the turban so that it will rest on Aaron's forehead, so that Aaron will bear away the iniquity committed regarding the holy things which B'nai Yisrael set apart as all their holy gifts. It is to be always on the forehead so that they may find favor before Adonai. So Aaron represents the defendant and the defense, right? He's in there. He's got to bear the burden of now how Aaron endures, bearing the burden. I don't know. But let's examine this. It's this mark that Aaron has to bear, that he has to bring before Adonai. Adonai's got to see that. He's got to see the holy seal. So where have we seen this before? This mark. It doesn't necessarily say that the mark was on Cain's forehead, but he was marked.
Yeah.
And that mark protected him.
Yes, it did.
Okay. Cain was definitely guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And that mark maybe wasn't so much to protect Cain from God's wrath, but it did protect him from whoever Cain was afraid of, most likely the fallen angels, because wasn't nobody else out there. All right. And I don't know who else could have read it, because the only one who's going to be looking at that seal is God when Aaron brings it before him, so God doesn't get ticked off. Right. So this is a language that most likely angels would have understood. You
mean Cain's seal?
Yeah, Cain's seal, right? And also Aaron. So the seal might have been the same seal. It's a protective holy seal. Also, we've also seen a seal that was put on foreheads. That's the 144,000.
Yep.
All right. So we know that the tribes of Israel are going to bear this seal, right?
I mean the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, and it just so happens, right, that he's going to have the names of Israel, shoulders, chest, and he's going to have this holy mark. It's most likely the mark that is going to be given to the 144,000. All right, so
holy to Adonai.
Yeah. It's all could square up. Once again, speculation. I think it reflects what's being said in here, but of course, as usual, check your own counsel with the Holy Spirit. Do your own reading. Let's see. And you are to weave a tunic in checkered. And thank you guys who've been hanging in there. So this is a long chapter, y'all. It's a long chapter. And thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us. You are to weave the tunic in checkered work of fine linen, make a turban of fine linen, and make a sash, the work of a color weaver. For Aaron's sons, you are to make tunics, sashes, and headwear for them, for splendor and for beauty. For them on Aaron, put them on Aaron, your brother, and on his sons with him, and anoint them, consecrate them, and sanctify them, so that they may minister to me as Kohanim. You are to make linen undergarments for them, to cover the skin of their nakedness, from the hips to the thighs. They are to be worn by Aaron and his sons when they go into the tent of meeting. Remember, y'all, this is all getting ready to meet Yeshua when he shows up. So you recognize it. Tent of meeting, when they approach the altar to minister in the holy place, so that they do not become subject to guilt and die. It is to be a statute forever to him, to his offspring after him. Right on, y'all.
Woo.
Woo!
I know you don't have time for a lot of questions, but can we just take a moment for some prayer? Everybody's being affected in some way by let's see what our audience has said. The Kung flu, the Wuachu, and the Hong Kong flu. We've got some really talented people in
That's awesome.
our fellowship here.
Hey, you leave the wordsmithing to me, okay?
I think they did pretty good, honey.
You guys did. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I didn't even come up with those. And I flipping studied Kung Fu. I've been studying Chinese martial arts for most of my life.
Call it the Kung Flu.
Right? I never even said the Kung Flu. Was it Hong Kong flu? Oh, my goodness. You step up your game, though.
So,
obviously, I'm rubbing off on you guys.
Anyway. That's true. Mindy Cohen and Ray Cook and Glynis and some other people and people we know, friends and family, are being laid off.
Wow.
people are on standby because they don't know if they're going to be losing their job with or without pay for a week or two. So can we just take time to cover each other in prayer, honey?
Indeed. And yeah, I'm there with you guys. Lord, we definitely we trust in you. You said that you feed the birds of the air and stuff like that, and they ain't got to worry about it. So you don't need us worried about it too. We know that you'll keep us, in some capacity, you'll keep us safe. And we just, regardless of which, Lord, we're thankful to you. We're thankful to you for the things that we do have. Yes, things may come, and it's like, it may seem strange to be thankful for that. Of course, people aren't thankful. We don't want to be thankful for getting sick, or we want to be thankful for getting laid off. These are attacks that come against us, but we're thankful to you that you give us the strength to endure. We trust in you for guidance.
Yes.
We trust in you. Yeah, we trust in you for peace of mind.
Yes.
We trust in you for restoration. Yes. We trust in you to help us learn. Yes. As we go through these things. And we don't want to be knuckleheaded. Lord, help us to get good wisdom out of this, and use the abilities to adapt and not conform. We don't want to conform to the complications of this world, but we want to be enduring, as you told us to endure in faith until the end, Lord. And so we trust in you for that endurance and that strength. And we know in you it's all good. The world is going to do what it does. These things are not a surprise to us. We won't be surprised. We'll save that for our amazement in you. So,
thank you, Lord.
The Lord's peace and power to everybody listening, and to to all the world. We hope that we receive the Lord's peace and truth. In Yeshua's name.
In Yeshua's name. Amen.
Right on, y'all. Well, thank you for letting me share. For letting us share this word with you. Please bear in mind, the message is free. Delivering it isn't. And of course, as everybody's experiencing, a dip in their finances, I totally understand. It affects me too, because when it affects you, it definitely affects me.
Yeah.
But
we're already at a dip, so when we dip,
when I dip, you dip, we dip, right? But of course, we appreciate it. That prayers are definitely appreciated, and we trust in the restoration. We want to keep these things coming to you. If you guys find these sessions, these studies encouraging, and that you find them insightful, and you want to help keep gas in the truck so we can keep delivering, the message, and we can keep this thing going. We hope that, you find it a worthy sacrifice, a real sacrifice. We're not a nonprofit organization, so, it ain't like you could write it off. And, they didn't get their slaughtered goats back at the end of the year. Okay. So if you find this stuff, worthy to compete in the market of people out there, promoting information or content and stuff like that, you find it worthy to do that, to keep this stuff going, please visit my new renovated website. The bronze serpent has shed its skin, and it's got a nice new epidermal layer for you guys to come and examine. The nice new website, renovated by our good buddy Chris Pelzinski. Amazing artist.
Yeah.
And
very talented.
And thank you, God, that he finds my work worth contributing to in the fashion that he does. I hope you check out the new Bronze Serpent Media website, and click that donation button, hit that tip jar, and help us keep this message coming. All right, y'all. Blessings. Shalom. Where my finish button at? Here's one. Here's the other.